Good morning and good Shabbos, everyone. This week's Torah portion contains the commandments of the holidays. And between the holiday of Passover and Shavuot, we're commanded to count the Omer each and every day. And indeed, today is the 27th day in the Omer count, as we make our way towards the holiday of Shavuot, which is the 50th day after the 49 days of the Omer. And these days are also known by the Ramban Nachmanides as the days of Chol HaMoed. The intermediary holy days between Passover and Shavuos are like the intermediary days of a holiday. They're meant to be joyous days because we're going from the two holidays, from Passover to Shavuos. We're moving from physical freedom to spiritual liberation and freedom through receiving the Torah at Mount Sinai. But unfortunately, something happened later in history that turned these days into sad days on the Jewish calendar. And that is when 2,000 years ago, the students of Rabbi Akiva died during this period. And therefore it became a time of mourning. You may notice that there are no weddings during this period of time, because we're not allowed to have joyous occasions. Only on Lag BaOmer, which is next week, do we resume the joy, because we're now in the mourning for the students of Rabbi Akiva. And our rabbis tell us in the Talmud, why did the students of Rabbi Akiva die? Because they didn't show proper love and respect for one another. And that's why Rabbi Akiva, the great sage, taught the following lesson. Love your neighbor as yourself. This is the most important principle in the entire Torah. And indeed, the prerequisite and the prelude and the preparation for receiving the Torah is to learn how to be united as a people, to love each other and respect each and every person. Because we cannot have a relationship with God if we do not first learn how to have a proper relationship with our fellow man. The mitzvah that is the most all-encompassing commandment is to treat each other with the same respect and dignity and sensitivity that we want to be treated. It's a story told of a little boy in 3rd grade. He was only 8 years old, and he's sitting at his desk, and suddenly there's a puddle between his legs, and he looks down and his pants are wet. The boy becomes frightened. He knows that in a moment, all the kids in the class are going to notice, and he's going to be the laughingstock. He's going to be ridiculed, and he's never going to hear the end of it. Just as he's thinking, what am I going to do? Little Susie in the class is carrying a fishbowl to the other side of the class, and suddenly trips and spills the entire fishbowl of water all over little Johnny. And now he's soaking wet. And suddenly all the kids come over and the teacher come over, and now instead of him being the object of ridicule and mockery, he's now the object of sensitivity and sympathy, where everyone's feeling sorry for him and getting paper towels and trying to clean it up. And little Susie now becomes the object of ridicule, as she's such a klutz that she spilled and tripped and spilled all the water of the fishbowl over Johnny. At the end of the day, when they were at the bus, little Johnny turns to Susie and says, "Susie, you did that on purpose, didn't you?" And little Susie smiles at Johnny and says, "Yes, I once wet my pants too." Love your neighbor as yourself. Understand that what you like to be done to you is what you should do to others. And what you don't want others to do to you, you should never do to others. This is what the great sage Hillel as well told a convert who wanted to convert to Judaism. Everything else in the Torah is merely commentary on that one commandment. Have a wonderful day and a Shabbat Shalom.